everyone. Welcome to a bootleg episode of Trek Canon. For those who know my channel, when you see this symbol behind me, that means that we're about to do a long-form video examination, if you will, of Star Trek. And what's the new Star Trek we talking about? Of course, it's Star Trek Section 31. Now, for people who watch my channel long enough, y'all know that I loved the concept of Section 31. Wish it would have became a series, but this particular time they made it a movie. Why did I want that? Because since it was introduced in the episode Deep Space Nine, right, and especially that episode where Dr. Bashir and Chief O'Brien decided to go up inside Sloan's mind, came across all those top secret files and everything that helped save the Federation and Starfleet and all those stuff. Many a times I really wish that they would have explored that particular aspect of the Star Trek as far in through the eyes of the morality and ethics behind what they were doing to keep Earth a paradise. I always loved that concept. But see, that wasn't the first time it was explored as a concept in Star Trek canon. It was first explored in Assignment Earth with Gary Seven and the outstanding cat Isis. Excuse me. That series was supposed to be modeled after a spy series in the Star Trek universe, and was supposed to be really modeled after the Mission Impossible series, and it didn't get picked up. And so I was pretty amused when the Section 31 movie came on, and they had the whole Mission Impossible exposition dump, everything except for if you choose to accept the mission or not. So I got a little chuckle out of that. So people, I took some notes. So basically, this movie right here is the hour-and-a-half version of what they thought Section 31 would be. Now, first going into this movie, I wasn't expecting, the science, the investigating and all that kind of stuff, because it's not Starfleet focused, it's Section 31 focused. So I was expecting a spy drama, some type of thing that dwelled with, infiltration, espionage type of stuff like that. Did this do that? No. What they did focus on, though, was the team getting together to either arrest or eliminate Empress Georgiou, but end up taking her as part of the team, because it's this secret device that she ends up making. Oh, by the way, spoilers, people, but y'all know how I roll. That she end up having her people make, right, that she thought was destroyed, but basically it's one of those weapons, man, that she said would end everything. And I was thinking to myself, man, finally we're gonna get the Tantalus device inside Star Trek canon, as far as how it's explained, how it came to be, who made it, how it got into Kirk's hands in the mirror universe, and how he was using it and everything like that. But did we do that? No. Now, another thing I was thinking was that they was going to make a connection between Empress Hoshi, right, who's Asian, and I might be getting all my, I might be getting that all mixed up, but Empress Hoshi, who's Asian, and when Empress Georgiou, as a little girl, was coming over the horizon to what we later would become known as her family, I thought that was the connection. They was like, oh, this is Hoshi, and maybe Empress Georgiou was her daughter. Maybe I thought that they was going to kind of make that connection between Star Trek Enterprise and Discovery. But they didn't. They didn't decide to do that because they're lame. So anyway, they had this cutscene where they go into Georgiou's backstory, man, where basically in the Terran Empire, which is savage, and to see a lot of people be like, why they got it? Okay, see, because the mirror universe, man. So if you got you got Starfleet, who got all these morals, ethics, and all this kind of stuff, and good and all that kind of stuff, their mirror images is savage barbarians, conquerors, murder, killer, genocidal maniacs, right? That's them. So yeah, they depict them, accurately in each iteration time that we go into the mirror universe. Their universe is terrible. So anyway, in her universe, how to become emperor or empress, or how to run an empire, basically, is they get all these kids together, man, from all these different worlds, man, hundreds of them, and they have them fight and compete with each other to where it whittles them down to only two. And those two remaining people, man, how they weed them out, they don't have them fight each other. They have them do something even more messed up, which is the first one of them to kill their families becomes emperor or empress. Anyway, it was down between Empress Georgiou and this dude named San, who had this little, divergence type of, love thing. Yeah, in the middle of all this chaos and evil and death and torture and everything like that, we gonna form this bond. And even Empress Georgiou even told him I love him and all that kind of stuff. La 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 la. Anyway, he ends up losing because she ends up killing her family and everything, and she ends up subjugating this dude for the rest of his life. But before she does, man, one of the things is she takes this sword, man, that was inside this fire, and she brands him up against the side of his face, burning his face. Now the thing is, the first thing I thought about was, I wonder, is that what happened to Sulu in the Mirror Universe in the episode Mirror Mirror, while he was all jacked up, and man, but his subjugation was to Starfleet. But did they make any kind of connection like that besides the fact that both of them was burned? No. So that was the leap I was making. That's fine. Anyway, basically they need her help to go and they end up enlisting her help basically to get this device that she made that's supposed to be the world ending thing and everything like that. And it goes into how they're trying to stop the Terran Empire from coming over and using this device, because all of their resources is going out, coming over and using this device to basically take control of the our galaxy and use up all our resources and subjugate everybody and commit genocide and all that kind of stuff over here. And their ultimate goal is to stop these people. Now, as far as the characters goes, right? Of course, you got Empress Georgiou, and I'm happy that they kept her on the positive-ish arc that she was on when she was in Discovery. I was hoping that when we came into this movie that she wasn't, that they didn't, roll her back to, to just straight up maniac that she was in season 1 of Discovery. You got Alok. Alok was an interesting character to me. Let's talk about Alok real quick, because Alok is the team leader, right? But the thing about Alok is that he fought in the eugenics wars. Now, now I can only guess that this time, that the time period of this particular movie takes place like a little few years after Kirk's years, all right? Because we also have another character, Rachel Garrett. And the thing about Rachel Garrett is everybody knows her from yesterday's Enterprise. She was from a time period where they wore the Starfleet uniforms of, what was it, Star Trek 2-ish, all right? So that'll put them around the time of, say, the voyage home, all right, when she was a captain. So going back a few years, that'll put her a few years after Kirk's 5-year mission. So Alok basically is from 300 and something years before that. He fought in the eugenics wars. Now, the thing about that is that I've always thought to myself, I always was curious of, all right, I already know how strong and tactic and strategic and intelligent Khan and his Superman were. The only problem that they had was arrogance. But how would a bunch of humans who are not on that level at all even go against these types of individuals and win? Not only win, man, but force these guys, exile these people, right? Come to find out that they had help. And help from other augments, people that were turned by other leaders of factions of Earth that was ruled by other Supermen, because we know Khan only ruled a portion of Earth. There was other Supermen. So I was happy that they got into that a little bit about, these Supermen needed more soldiers. So they'll capture humans, turn them, augment them and everything, and make them and force them to fight in their battles. I thought that was pretty cool. But how he got to sleep because he wasn't part of Khan's crew, right? How he got to sleep and everything, did these people get exiled? Did they put him to sleep and everything? But in any effect, we know that augments, whether they were good or bad, whether they were on a good or bad side of the eugenics wars, were no longer part of the Federation, it wasn't no longer accepted. So it leads me to believe that they do that whole thing that Roga Danar's civilization did to those augments that they used to fight in their wars, in which case it's another one of those examples where Starfleet is kind of always preaching but doing all kind of other stuff. You have this other individual named Quasi. He's a chameleoid. He's the same species as the chameleoid we found in Star Trek The Undiscovered Country that was helping Bones and Kirk escape. I didn't like the effects that they put on him to change. I thought they put way too much into that. It should have been a simple shimmer thing, but they put way too much into that. Also, I didn't like his character as a chameleoid. Any type of shapeshifter, you would think that they would have all the confidence in the world and be some of the most deadly species ever, because they could change into whatever they want to. That's a weird thing, right? I'm just reading my notes. Now you got Quasi, right? Thing about Quasi is, look, Fuzz. Think about Fuzz is, I didn't like Fuzz, right? Fuzz basically is an individual, it's a near microscopic individual that's sentient, right? He has this little, he's inside this little vessel that's inside this ship that's shaped like a Vulcan, right? So everybody looking at this ship would think it's a Vulcan. And the first thing I thought of was that little robot from Doctor Who, right? They had the same setup, man. And what was it? Rory and them was stuck up inside of it, and they had anyway, long story short, it reminded me of that robot. Anybody who's seen Doctor Who or know what I'm talking about. But I didn't like that character either. We got Zeph. Zeph is basically like, if don't you know how you got those people who get way too addicted to cosmetic surgery? This is the future version of that. He got way too addicted to technology. I think that that's leaning too much into becoming Borg. Although you would have people like that, I don't think that they would be accepted in the Federation. But I likened him to a Borg, a stupid Borg. All right. Then you have Mel. Mel is the Deltan, of course, bald-headed, featured in Star Trek, the motion picture, ended up getting turned into a probe by V'ger. They have these sex drives that's supposed to be irresistible. They take these vows of celibacy, so they won't disrupt everything. Now, those was the main characters. Of course, you have a secret character, well, two secret characters and everything, but I'm getting ahead of myself. And again, spoilers, but y'all know how I roll. Now, how did I like the movie overall? I thought the movie overall was entertaining. Now, understand that I didn't go into it thinking it was going to be a lot of science and technology and all of those types of things like I would a Star Trek focused on around Starfleet. Like I said, I went into it thinking it was going to be espionage and all that stuff, and they didn't do that. So I was very disappointed about that. Okay. Another thing I was disappointed about was Section 31 is they're a clandestine, top secret, under wraps, don't nobody know about them. They one of those types of, organizations. So the fact that they were acting the way that they did, especially on that space station, was beyond me. Man, they had no type of being undercover, nothing. Speaking of, they had no type of team cohesion, no type of professionalism. They didn't strike me as being professional Section 30. Do you remember how professional Sloan and his team was? Right? Think about that and compare them to this team of individuals right here. As a matter of fact, the only person that passed as I think would have passed as one of those as a Section 31 agent would have been Alok. Alok and Giorgio got the majority of the character development, while the other ones was relegated to humor and comedic relief and buffoonery and all this type of stupid stuff. Hell, the Deltan during a fight, you think she finna do some awesomeness? She flip over, man. I finna do this, man. They put the camera on the man, the centers on, and the music get going and everything. She flip over. First of all, it's never been shown that the Deltan can use their seductiveness in the middle of a person fighting because their testosterone, I would think, would be too high. But she stops this dude in his tracks and she decides, I'm gonna fight this dude. You can look at this woman and know she is not a fighter. 3 hits later, she's incinerated, right? Okay, well, what was the point of having her in this movie? You had a Sharonian man who was helping Michelle Yeoh run a bar. We ain't gonna even talk about how out of place that is because his species is from the episode Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. We know for a fact that it was only 2 Sharonians left. Loki and Bill, they was fighting on the planet with each other. Okay, that's what Kirk and them left them. All right, if there was some other Saronians, I get the impression they wouldn't have his demeanor, right? Because of all the stuff that was going on his world, right? He would not have that demeanor. That being said, this whole little phase trope. Now, I understand people always, talking about why didn't they fall through the floor? I'm gonna go ahead and try to explain that real quick, fast, in a hurry. Gravity in Star Trek canon has been shown to affect all phases, no matter what phase you in. So, and we know that on all space stations and Starfleet vessels and all that kind of stuff, it utilizes artificial gravity in their deck plating, which explains why they don't fall through the floors. Come on, people, let's do this. But they had this thing where Empress Georgiou has one of those phase devices where she could take herself out of phase, and I'm thinking to myself, this technology shouldn't exist during this time period, right? Did something happen? How did they get this technology? Not only did she have this technology, another dude who we gonna call Ninja Gaiden. Matter of fact, no, not Ninja Gaiden. Don't you know those vampires who was in Blade 2? Two of them came, snuck up on Blade. Man, they was fighting in the warehouse. Yeah, we'll call them the Death Dealers. Now that's from Underworld. Anyway, the Ninja Gaiden guy shows up. He got the phase technology. Now we got a phase fight, and I never understand why. When people are in a club in the movie, right, and is violence going on, people don't immediately scatter. I've been in a club when it's a hint of violence that went on, and the club is clear. I never understand how they do that in movies. Like the music is never that good. Anyway, they get into this shaky cam fight and everything, Empress Georgiou and everything. And when I talk about stealth in Section 31 and being undercover, no, how do you think that Alok and Zeph got to the fight? Zeph is busting through walls and all this kind of stuff. It's just, of course, they got to run through somebody's quarters while somebody in the bed sleeping, while somebody in the bed having sex with somebody, every trope that you could think of is in here. And one thing I don't understand is, man, they get to a point where Empress Georgiou ran to get this box that they didn't finally get, right? That's supposed to be this weapon that Section 31 is trying to get, right? It falls in the corridor. She runs through the wall. She trips. Her ankle is stuck in the wall. And I'm thinking to myself, either her ankle should have been cut off, or at the very least, she should have been like that chick that was up inside that episode Where No Man Has Gone Before, Next Generation, where she was up inside the corridor floor, froze in. Her leg should have been froze in the wall just like that. But nah, man. Anyway, they used this opportunity for, of course, Ninja Gaiden to come and grab the thing, man. He opened it up. Instead of killing her, he opened it up, take the time to show her what was in and everything. She freaks out because she recognized and was like, I thought that thing was destroyed, which causes, and he beams away. That causes a falling out with Alok, who see what just happened. No, she recognized that this thing is a weapon, and she don't want to tell him. So he takes her and start getting ready to, I'm gonna tie you up and get ready to go. It was a whole lot of people getting tied up to chairs in this right here. It was a lot of tying up to chairs in this right here. Anyway, they try to interrogate her, man. She's like, basically, look, I made this device that's supposed to have made me the most powerful empress and everything. And I'm like, oh, snap, they finna hook it up. They finna link it to the Tantalus field from Mirror Mirror, to explain how Kirk got that super powerful piece of equipment in his quarters from the scientist that he said he got it from. But no, 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 no. It's another world-ending, universe-destroying device, man, that's supposed to, when detonated, jump from one world, destroy that world, to another world, destroy that world, and continuously do this. And it's supposed to be her, if anybody assassinate her, this is what's going to happen weapon, right? Now, this is supposed to be the weapon that this dude is kidnapping so he could get to the Terrans that's supposed to be coming through this portal. I did like that, though. It wasn't just any portal that just happens up from the mirror universe. They explain it because it's two severe ion storms that come together at a certain time that create this certain frequency with the ions that cause this. And ion storm is usually what happens when you go to the mirror universe, either through usually through a transporter though. But that also explains how people started bleeding over into our universe that was from the mirror universe. Anyways, long story, it's another story. Anyway, they get the team, man. They find out why they trying to interrogate JoJo. The explosions start going off. Come to find out, they got a mole in the group. They don't know who the mole is. The mole is basically stranded them on this garbage world, right? Next to this nebula where they throw all the garbage that's supposed to get incinerated. Keep that in mind. But where this portal is supposed to be opening up. The person got away, man, and they trying to go give it to the Terrans that's supposed to be coming through and, like I said, take over and get all our resources. Anyway, so now they got to figure out not only how to get up off the planet, they can't send no signals, but they got a garbage ship, but it's missing a power source. Keep that in mind too. They got to figure out who to mole. They start thinking that it's one person is a little thing, going back and forth. But since we don't know the characters, we don't know. Anyway, come to find out, it's the Vulcan dude, man, and everything like that, man. Well, not the Vulcan dude, the little thing inside the Vulcan dude. He got autopilot. That's how I didn't nobody notice it was him, because he had his suit on autopilot while he went and took over Zeph's body, man, and had him destroy some stuff and kill himself and blame it on Rachel. I did like Rachel Garrett's inclusion into the series because I love the fact that they showed a distinction between Starfleet and Section 31. Yeah, there's things that we won't do. I'm here to watch you guys so that y'all don't overstep with y'all bounds way too much, start committing murder, genocide, and all that stuff, which they end up doing. Anyway, not the genocide part, but all the murder. Anyway, he tried to blame it on Rachel Garrett. Like I said, I really did like her character and all this kind of stuff. And now they got to go get him and a lot of and then so this whole little situation, man, where with the garbage thing, man, getting hit with a torpedo. Look, let me tell you something. He would have been instantly destroyed. Ain't none of that. Oh, we can only take one shot. And then y'all shields fail in the thing that's supposed to be burning up garbage and all that stuff. And y'all ships is fine. Y'all get into so Giorgio and Alok, they beam over to fight the dude that's on autopilot thing, and what comes out to be Sven or whatever his name is, who was the dude that she subjugated, thought he was dead. He's now the antagonist, come to find, come to get all his revenge on her and all this kind of and she's trying to convince him, I love you, and now I changed my ways, and he's still kicking her butt. And this dude, and look. Why do people punch robots? I never understand why people punch robots. Can you knock it out? Are you gonna cause brain damage? Are you gonna, when you hit it in the gut, are you causing stomach injuries? Are you finna break a rib? Like, you fighting a thing that has none of that, and it's on autopilot, man, and you strong as hell, pick it up and throw it somewhere. Like, you doing everything like you fighting a normal person. That's just weird. Like, that was unnecessary. But they end up saving the day in the most kind of phony way, because I think everybody should have been dead based on what they described this weapon of doing. But, transporter, plot armor. Man, so this movie overall, man, look, overall, I thought the movie was, like I said, entertaining. Would I watch it again? No. But I think that it is a good addition. It expanded a little bit on canon. I love that, especially in the eugenics wars. It was a whole lot of connections that they could have made that they did not, that I'm very upset that they did. I wish they turned it into more of a exciting type of, thing, instead of a more espionage, deep cover, undercover, infiltration type spy thriller or spy drama, and I didn't really like that. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought of the movie and everything, if you guys liked it or not. If you guys recommend it to anybody, leave comments below. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and as always, peace, recycle, and save the whales. You guys be cool.